You think international relations are all formality, stiff handshakes, and perfectly chosen words? Think again. Today we're diving into the diplomatic blunders, bizarre gift exchanges, and downright odd moments that have rocked the global stage. From colossal wheels of cheese to shoe-banging showdowns, these are the unusual diplomatic incidents that made headlines. Diplomacy, the art of, well, it's often described as subtle, like a whispered conversation in a smoke-filled room, all nuance and delicate maneuvering, but sometimes it's less subtle whisper and more yelling really loudly with a mouthful of cheddar. Case in point, 1802. The United States, in a gesture of what I can only assume was deep affection for France, decided to send them a gift. And not just any gift, mind you. We're talking a gigantic 1,235-pound wheel of cheese. That's right, a dairy behemoth so massive it probably had its own gravitational pull. This wasn't just a gift, it was a statement. A delicious, pungent statement that said, "Hey France, we're here and we're lactose tolerant." The cheese, as you can imagine, caused quite a stir. It toured Europe, becoming a sensation, and even decades later, the White House threw a cheese-tasting party in its honor, because why not? When life gives you a diplomatic cheese wheel the size of a small car, you milk it for all it's worth. Now we move from cheesy to downright cheeky. Because when we talk about unusual diplomatic incidents, we absolutely cannot skip over the time Nikita Khrushchev, the then premier of the Soviet Union, decided that words were simply not enough to express his feelings at the United Nations General Assembly. So in 1960, during a particularly heated debate, he grabbed his shoe, yes, his shoe, and proceeded to bang it on the table, repeatedly. It was a move that would make even the most seasoned diplomats spill their borscht. Some say he was protesting a speech he disagreed with. Others claim he was simply trying to get the attention of a very chatty room. Whatever the reason, it's an image etched in the annals of diplomatic history. The takeaway, sometimes a firm hand gesture just doesn't cut it. You need to bring out the big guns, or the big loafers. Chapter 3. The Ems Dispatch. How a telegram sparked a war. But let's not forget, folks, that diplomacy isn't always about giant cheese wheels or impromptu shoe-based percussion performances. Sometimes it's about words, carefully chosen, meticulously crafted words that can make or break alliances, treaties, and even entire nations. And in 1870, those words came in the form of a telegram, the now infamous Ems Dispatch. This seemingly innocuous message, detailing a meeting between a French ambassador and the King of Prussia, was carefully edited, some might say doctored, to make it seem far more insulting than it actually was. The result? Well, let's just say it wasn't a strongly worded letter of complaint. It was a full-blown war, the Franco-Prussian War to be precise, a conflict that engulfed Europe and left a lasting mark on the continent, all because of a few carefully chosen, or rather carefully manipulated words. A sobering reminder that in the world of diplomacy, the pen, or in this case the telegraph key, can indeed be mightier than the sword. Chapter 4, the Puffin predicament when lunch becomes a diplomatic crisis. Now some diplomatic incidents are just weird, like, did that really happen? Kind of weird. And this one definitely falls into that category. Picture this: Iceland, land of majestic glaciers, stunning landscapes, and apparently very protective puffin enthusiasts. Because when a foreign diplomat was caught dining on, wait for it, endangered puffins, well, let's just say the Icelandic people were not pleased. In fact, they were so not pleased that they decided to take a stand. A stand that involved banning said diplomat from their country. Yes, you heard that right, banned for eating a puffin. It's a story that sounds like it was ripped straight from the pages of a political satire, but I assure you it's 100% real, and it serves as a valuable lesson. When visiting a foreign country, it's probably best to stick to the local cuisine, or at the very least make sure what you're eating isn't about to land you on a diplomatic do-not-fly list. Chapter 5. The Emu War, a Feathery Fiasco. And finally, we come to an incident so utterly bizarre, so incredibly strange, that it almost defies explanation. I'm talking, of course, about the Great Emu War of Australia. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Emu War. In 1932, Australia faced a formidable foe: emus, thousands of them. These giant flightless birds were wreaking havoc on crops, and the Australian government decided to take drastic action. They deployed the military with machine guns. Their mission to cull the emu population and bring peace back to the outback. The result? Well, let's just say it wasn't exactly a resounding victory. The emus, you see, proved to be surprisingly adept at evading gunfire. They were faster, they were more agile, and they, frankly, seemed to have a better battle strategy than the humans. The Great Emu War is now remembered as a, shall we say, military failure. A testament to the fact that sometimes even the best laid plans can be foiled by a bunch of really stubborn birds. It's a story that's both hilarious and slightly embarrassing, but hey, at least it makes for a good story at diplomatic cocktail parties. Just maybe avoid mentioning it to any Australian dignitaries. So, what can we learn from these unusual moments in diplomatic history? Well, maybe that international relations aren't always predictable, and definitely not always dignified. From giant cheese wheels to shoe-banging theatrics and puffin bans, these head-scratching incidents show us the human side of diplomacy, awkward, hilarious, and occasionally snack-related. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the quirkier side of global politics, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below on the strangest diplomatic moment you've ever heard of. Your support helps us bring more unexpected history straight to your screen. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.